Excuse me, Con. Got a minute?
Sure, come on in. Come on in. Come on in.
Con, last year about this time you were whining and wailing about not having a promotion. Since that time, you've been made Personnel Function Manager. Why do you think you were selected?
Well, Pam, I would like to think that the reason that I was selected for the job was that it was felt that I had the right combination of business knowledge and sensitivity towards people, and the kind of a good feel for what was happening in manufacturing, and hopefully that I could give some direction and advice and counsel to the people that need that advice and counsel. They're the reasons that I would like to think that I was selected for the job. I think probably some of the advantages that I had over other people was that I continued to maintain my book that I've had since last year, and I've also augmented it with some videotapes that I've been able to get my hands on.
Con, you've known Eugene for a long time, and you are now reporting directly to him. How do you find him as a manager to work for? Con, now that you have your new position, you are now required to attend Eugene's staff meetings on a Friday afternoon. How do you find this?
The staff meeting is really something special, and I can tell you that, for a boy from a small town in Ireland, I was filled with awe when I went in there for the first time, and I was filled with something else when I came back out.
You know, Con, there's a whole new language being used in manufacturing these days, and I'm sure you're familiar with most of the terminology, like new competitive design point, visioning, workstation ownership. But the one that really seems to intrigue me is best of breed. How would you describe best of breed?
Actually, Pam, the best of breed process is quite simple, really. What the corporation is trying to do is to look at the different functions across the world and find the ones that are performing most effectively. For example, you could say that they would look at all the engineering areas at all the different sites in IBM and find which one that they felt was operating most efficiently and effectively, and they would then be classified as best of breed. Similarly, they would do the same thing in areas like materials management or IS, or even in personnel. Now, where the term best of breed really comes into play is that once they have identified the groups that they feel are best of breed in the different functions, that they would send those people across the world to the other sites to breed in those organizations so that we can develop better people in all sites.
I know we're doing some limited hiring in 1989, and I understand that there's a concern in terms of attracting people to the Toronto area because of the high cost of living. What is personnel doing to try and resolve this issue?
Yes, we have had some problem recruiting new hires this year, and the problem is similar to the problem that other functions have had, in that we think the cost of housing in Toronto has been a real inhibitor. We in personnel have decided to put an innovative program in place. We call it the Residency Internship Program, or RIP for short. And what that is a program that allows us in manufacturing to provide low-cost housing for new hires coming into Toronto. We have almost completed our first series of low-cost housings, and I'd be glad now to show you our first example of it. What you see here are some refurbished units that we've put in place. They're built in a chalet style of operation with communal showers, and of course having the cafeteria available 24 hours a day also is a big advantage. We think that these types of facilities will give us the competitive edge when it comes to hiring new people in manufacturing.
Con, you've been a real advocate of hiring into all areas of manufacturing, not just engineering and IS. If you had an opportunity to bring somebody into the personnel function, would they be required to take the same tests like engineers would, for example, the IPAT test?
No, Pam, we don't use the IPAT test. What we have is a specific test that we use for people who are hired in personnel or who are moving into personnel. The test is designed to make sure that the people that we do bring in are people who have a good understanding of the business and also have some knowledge of computers. The test is called the Business Understanding and Computer Knowledge Test. The acronym for that would be BUC, Business Understanding and Computer Knowledge. And what we find is that this test is key because it lets us know if the people have the ability to work in the new world of personnel that needs that kind of business and computer knowledge. What we have found is that if people can pass the BUC, they are ideal candidates for our group.
I understand that Facilities has a plan in place to improve the plant appearance by giving responsibility to individual managers. Can you comment about your responsibilities relative to the personnel area?
Yes, and the idea is that we would divide the plant up into specific locations that managers would be responsible for. In facilities jargon, this would be called the footprint of the area. The area that I'm responsible for is so small that I call it the fingerprint. The idea is that when you have that management responsibility for the footprint or fingerprint, as the case may be, that the ownership would be there and people would take care to make sure that it looks good. Now that I have ownership of my area, I plan to make some subtle changes to kind of send a message out to the rest of the plant as to the direction that I think I would like personnel to be heading in the next couple of years. The first thing I plan to do to kind of get that message across, and it's just a subtle thing really, is that I plan to install a cipher lock on the front door of the personnel area.
Just staying with the same subject for a minute then, we've also been doing a lot of space consolidation lately. What are the real benefits in terms of consolidating our space?
Actually, consolidation of space has been quite a plus from my point of view. What we've been able to do is close down the off-site buildings and bring all our people into the Don Mills area, which from a personnel point of view is, I think, much, much better. The other plus to consolidation is that we've been able to bring some new tenants into the building. As you know, we've always had SSM in our building, and now at the south end of the building we have leased a large portion of it to our friends in the lab. This again has meant that we have had a lot more efficiencies, and one of the areas that we have found that we have made major savings is in our heating bill, because we've been able to shut down 2 of our boilers because of the hot air that's now being generated in the south end.
Another concern that the managers have had is in terms of recognition. Is anything being done to address management recognition?
Management recognition is very, very important, and I know that it is important not only for the managers but also for all employees, as I believe that managers who feel that they are being given recognition will filter that good feeling down to their employees. The subject of management recognition is one that is given high focus at the senior management level. I know that, for example, Eugene has put a personal plan in place for himself where by the end of this year he will have recognized all his managers, and in 1990 he will work on their names.
As you know, Con, we've just spent the last 2 weeks going through benefit presentations for all employees and their spouses that were interested in hearing more about the program. You know, it's amazing, but there still seems to be a fair amount of confusion about the retirement program itself. Can you maybe shed some light on this particular program?
You know, Pam, it never ceases to amaze me the confusion that we have with this benefits program. You know, the retirement package, to me, it's reasonably simple. You have to be 55 years of age and you have to have 30 years of service to qualify. Now, some people get 30 years of service confused with 30 years of work, and I can tell you that that's not really essential. Just the 30 years of service is what qualifies you. So you get your 55 years of age and your 30 years of service. Now, there is an exception to that, and it's called the floor plan, where you don't have to be 55 years of age or have 30 years of service, and that goes back to the people who didn't take the last opportunity that was handed to them. Don't know why they didn't take it, but they didn't take it. Now, once you've decided what age you are and how much service you've got, you get into the options that you can have. You know, you've got the pre-retirement spousal option, which is quite simple to understand, really, and I don't think I need to explain that any further. You've got the straight life, which is one that probably very few people live right now. I haven't seen too many people live straight lives lately. You have the 10-year guarantee and the 5-year guarantee. Always confusion on this, and basically people think that they have to live 10 years or have to live 5 years to be guaranteed an income. It doesn't work that way. You can live for 5 years, 2 years, whichever you want. You know, there's no real fixed process in this one. Now, when you get into the options that you have in terms of joint and survivorship, you have 60% joint and survivorship, and you've got 100% joint and survivorship. If you don't want to take these, you have to get your spouse to sign to allow you not to take these. I would suggest you get your lawyer to sign too. It probably would be very, very beneficial. Now, once you have all your real decision made, you can then decide to level that or not level it, and also take into consideration the CPP factor. To me, it's quite simple. I don't understand why people are always confused. It may be the fact that once you get to the age of 55 or over, pretty well everything's confusing.
Well, Con, it's always refreshing to hear your perspective on topics of interest. Any final words of wisdom?
Not really, Pam. I think we've touched pretty well on some issues that I hope are of interest to the management team. I think all in all things are going quite well in manufacturing, and there really haven't been any issues that I could see would be a problem to us right now. And I think that the fact that things are going smoothly is reflected in the way we all feel about things right now.